to UWO Now. I'm your host, Wendell Ray. Thanks so much for joining us for another conversation with a member of our UWO community. You know, the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh, like any other college and university in the United States, plays a vital role in its local community. We'll talk today about the important connections and relationships among communities, educational institutions, and the business community with a graduate of UWO who is also the president and CEO of the Oshkosh Chamber of Commerce. Rob Kleman, thanks so much for joining us today on UWO Now.
Thanks for having me, Wendell. Glad to be here.
You know, Rob, there are probably many people out there that don't know exactly what a Chamber of Commerce does. Can you explain to us what the role of our Chamber of Commerce is in a community?
It's certainly very dynamic. I mean, first and foremost, we are a private nonprofit entity that is really, chambers are formed to promote the business community. We're a business association. So we have in Oshkosh, we're a membership-based organization, so like all chambers are. So we have over 900 members that are businesses here in the Oshkosh community. And, you know, our overarching goal is really to be that support base and support network for those members and by extension, the business community, and by a larger extension, the community in general. So we really have four pillars at the Oshkosh Chamber that kind of guide our strategic direction.
Okay.
From those are economic development, workforce and talent development, advocacy, which kind of falls on the legislative side of things, and then providing programs and services for those members. So, you know, we're engaged in a wide array of initiatives and projects that, you know, first and foremost, advance business, and we want our businesses in the local community to prosper. And then by extension, a lot of our efforts kind of flow out regionally, and we're involved and engaged in statewide efforts and initiatives. There's a statewide Chamber of Commerce. There's a U.S. Chamber.
Yeah.
But you know, we're engaged with many different types of organizations and entities from public and private sector perspective.
According to the Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development and cited on the Oshkosh Chamber of Commerce website, the unemployment rate for Oshkosh remains below the national unemployment rate. And at the time of this survey or this information, that was at 3.3%. Oshkosh was at 1.9%. This unemployment rate is amazing, it says on your website, when you consider that in April of 2020 in Oshkosh, the unemployment rate was 14.3%. Of course, that was in the throes of the COVID pandemic. Oshkosh-based businesses are employing more people than ever before. Local companies now employ 41,411 people in Oshkosh, up from the previous year's survey. In 2022, there was investment in commercial and industrial property of more than $44.4 million, with over $100 million of new development anticipated for 2023. Things look good economically here in Oshkosh. How do you feel?
Well, they really are. I mean, we do feel good about that. You cited that 14.3% unemployment rate, the height of the pandemic. You know, we have definitely fully recovered from that and then some. Of course, that's good, but on the flip side of that, you know, we have a labor shortage and you know, worker shortage. So, you know, what we're trying to do right now is build those partnerships and through training programs to train incumbent workers and really recruit students and potential employees into the careers that are there today. So, yeah, I mean, demographics, I mean, when you look at that, the demographics, I mean, we do have a workforce that's retiring. And
is that right?
In Wisconsin. So, you know, the demographics make that even more of a challenge. So obviously, most of our members and employers in the community, I mean, everybody is searching for quality workforce, employees, numbers, that sort of thing. So that's one of the big challenges that we really do need to continue to work on here in Oshkosh and the state.
And I want to talk about that too in a second. But first, let's talk about you a little bit before we get too far into our conversation. Okay. Tell us about Rob and who he was as a freshman and a graduate now of UWO, and what are your memories of being here at UWO, and what was your path here, and how did you get to be the president and CEO of the Oshkosh Chamber of Commerce?
Well, yeah, long path, but yeah, UW Oshkosh has been a huge part of my life and our family's life. And I mean, dating back to my family, I'm originally from Manitowoc, which is not that far away from here, over on Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
And still have family there. Love Manitowoc. And I basically followed a couple of my other sisters over here to UW Oshkosh. I came in 1982 and graduated in 87, 5-year plan. But,
That's okay. You made it.
yeah, we made it. We made it. But no, I love UW Oshkosh from that perspective, from many fronts. Met many lifelong friends here while in school and in studying here, but also continue to engage, to live in Oshkosh since then, never left Oshkosh upon graduation. From my perspective, met my wife here.
Wow.
She's a UW Oshkosh grad. Lynn Kleman, she actually works on campus. So we have a pretty very tight-knit connection to UW Oshkosh. Still a lot of friends here. Both of our children, Robbie and Katie, both graduated from UW Oshkosh. They're alumni. Son played baseball here. And
Wow.
So I mean, we really, and from my perspective, owe a lot to UW Oshkosh, because I mean, it's really shaped and contributed to kind of who we are today, and we interact with university on a daily basis, obviously, and so it means a lot to us. But I mean, UW Oshkosh, and I know you said kind of my career, so I should stick to the question, but
That's okay.
yes.
Let me ask you, what did you major in while you were here? How has that shaped your professional life?
For sure. Well, I started in accounting, but I ended up graduating in marketing and MIS. So I ended up being a double major. Kind of shifted over to more of the people side of things, kind of more of an outgoing type of person. And marketing was that major, and then kind of doubled in MIS. I upon graduation was selling computers for a few years. I was in the computer business at Computerland here in Oshkosh, Fox Valley Computers. Worked at Fox Valley Tech for a little bit in microcomputer support, and then came back and interviewed with. I had known our previous president and CEO, John Casper. I'd known him just through mutual friends, and I went to school here with his sister, and so I knew John through that. We're from Manitowoc County, and so John hired me at the chamber after a while back in 1991, and so I was basically the chamber's economic development director, ultimately senior VP of economic development for about 31 years.
And what attracted you to the chamber? What made you decide to leave corporate America, so to speak, and go to the chamber?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. I think back at that time, you really don't know. I mean, the position's open, but I was in a sales type role, and in talking and going through the interview process back then, it was really selling Oshkosh. I mean, kind of that role in economic development and business development it's half of it's a sales position. I mean, we're out on the road talking about all the good opportunities that are available in Oshkosh and the Fox River Valley. So kind of was the best of both worlds. It was kind of still in sales, but yet, it was community development. So at that point, it was, you really, by working at a chamber, you, just by osmosis, you are involved in the community.
Yeah.
So you meet so many different people at a chamber of commerce, from a business perspective, from public sector folks. You're still involved in education, government, business development, community development. You're involved on a statewide basis, so you meet many people that are in the same business as you from a chamber perspective, an economic development perspective that really, I mean, after 31 years and, Mr. Casper retired, so we kind of went through that process and just kind of floated to the president and CEO role at the chamber. So I think it's been better part of 33 years now that I've been at the chamber. But really, it's no one day is the same at a chamber of commerce. And that's exciting. And kind of being on the front end, kind of the cutting edge of development and what's happening in a community, and helping just to support that. And even if it's a small way, that's kind of what I think drives me to continue to love the chamber business. And really, I mean, it's a love for Oshkosh also. I mean, Oshkosh is a great place to live, work, play. We've raised our family here. We met a lot of friends here, and it continues that way. And so I couldn't see doing it any other way at this point.
You're listening to UWO Now. I'm your host, Wendell Ray, and we're talking about how universities, businesses, and communities work together with Rob Kleman, who's president and CEO of the Oshkosh Chamber of Commerce. Talking about Rob's path to the chamber. He navigated the curriculum and campus of UWO and finished here, and went on to work in some private companies locally, never left Oshkosh, and now is the CEO and president and CEO of the Oshkosh Chamber of Commerce. What you talk about, there's never really the days change a lot, and there's never the day is never the same at the chamber. And why is that? Why is it so dynamic there? And what also do you want the relationship to be with the community? I know you have an interest in economic development and business and so forth, but the community in general, what do you want your relationship to be with the community when you are at a chamber?
All said and done. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you want the relationship to be positive, right? I mean, you want to have a good relationship with many different organizations that are really driving the community. The chamber works very closely with many different partners. There's certain entities that you work maybe even closer with than some others, but we want to be that good partner from a chamber perspective. We work very closely with Discover Oshkosh and who's promoting tourism.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of that element. We have businesses that are engaged in that are our members, so we want to support that effort. The Oshkosh Area Community Foundation is a partner and supporting many different efforts and initiatives, and we work together with that organization on many fronts, whether it's education, community-based issues. We want to be a good partner with our local government, with the city of Oshkosh and Winnebago County. So, our interests, I think, our interests, the chamber's interests are always, first and foremost, it's from a business perspective. So our role, as I kind of stated, is to kind of support business, advocate for the best interests of business. So sometimes we have to make tough decisions on certain, items that come up that may not be good for business. So we'll always kind of fall down on that end of things when it comes to the advocacy piece of it. But I can say 90 to 95% of the time, we are always on the same page with our local government partners and education partners. And I think the key is when there's issues or items that come up where you're not necessarily on the same page, that you move forward from that, and you could still work together when you get through whatever the issue might be. Whether it's another fee for businesses that we have to deal with or that sort of thing. And I mean, we get that whole thing. But I think the key is, continuing to move forward together with these local partners to promote Oshkosh and employment and opportunities that are here. I mean, that's kind of what we're all about. I mean, and really, I mean, the chamber, from our advocacy efforts, we're the guardian of business. We're the voice of business. I mean, there's kind of an offense and a defensive approach, kind of being the voice of business, being proactive, promoting business interests, and then also monitoring what's going on out there in the marketplace, not just locally, but regionally, nationally, so we can be that, what I call guardian, which is kind of the defensive piece of our activities from an advocacy perspective. But in the end, it's a good player. We want to be a good player with UW-Oshkosh, of course, and, we mentioned the technical college. Those are all educational partners, as well as our K-12 system, both public and private.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What is... maybe people wouldn't realize or think that a chamber of commerce would be or have an interest in partnering with K through 12 and have a relationship with an educational body. Tell us about what you're trying to do there and why that's important.
It's critically important that we connect the education system with the business community and the support network that the business community can help provide to the education system, and also the education system that is leading kind of, those career pathways, creating those career pathways for our students that are coming up for the jobs of tomorrow. Specifically, we contract directly with the Oshkosh Area School District to provide programming for them relating to career pathways, developing and promoting career fairs that really starts all the way down into the elementary school level, from elementary, middle school all the way up to our high schools, and promoting those youth apprenticeship programs and school to work programs where you get on the job, real world experience from our high school students at a place of business. So we help to make those connections between education and the business community, and form those partnerships with them to place students in businesses almost, and then also from an intern perspective, when you get into higher ed, we're trying to help, create these internship opportunities, and we hire interns. At the Oshkosh Chamber, they become our employees, which is, we understand that many of our employees over the years that I've worked with at the Oshkosh Chamber are UWO Oshkosh grads, still are. So it's, it's also a place of churning out that talent. So,
but are those programs at K through 12, those partnerships that you developed, have you determined how, if they're garnering any fruit, how successful have they been for you?
Oh yeah, over the years. And this is nothing new. We've been doing this for well over 2 decades, partnering with the school district on all these initiatives. Formerly the PALS program, which is now, we just rebranded it with the school district here. It's called Adopt a School. Makes more sense. It's basically a local business or organization will adopt a school and kind of make them their partner in PAL. So they will support this school through people, whether it's reading in a classroom, whether it's providing resources to a particular school, supplies, all sorts of different things to kind of build a school up. But we'd love to find, or we're in the process right now of creating those connections since COVID. Obviously when COVID hit, students were at home. So the Adopt a School program, PALS, which we call PALS, Partners at Learning, kind of went on hiatus. So right now we're making a big push to get schools adopted again by our business community. And we've got, I think right now, 10 businesses back on board that are supporting schools. And we love every school to have a PAL through the Adopt a School program in the business community. So that works. I think that's been a program that's worked over the years. I think any manufacturer will tell you the youth apprenticeship program and the school to work program, where we're placing students in, whether it's an office environment or a manufacturing environment, is invaluable to the experience for these high school students. A lot of them go right into working for that local company that they were apprenticing in. And so that's been a great success story over the years. And I think, honestly, making the business community aware of the importance of career pathways to our students all the way down into, like I mentioned before, elementary and middle school, all the way up into high school, so they're prepared for the jobs that are going to be out there tomorrow. Because the jobs that are there today, it's going to look different in 5 years, even 3 years, 3 to 5. It's changing so fast at such an accelerated pace. So I think it's important that we get business owners, business associates into the classrooms, talking to them about that. Actually educating our parents also is an important piece of that puzzle, so that moms and dads and parents and guardians can help guide their children, our students, along those career pathways. So we're all in on that, and to the point where last year, for the first time ever, we actually officially contracted with OAS, with the Oshkosh Area School District, to provide programming for them.
In the most recent Business Outlook survey, Rob, local CEOs stated one of the top public policy issues facing Wisconsin is the labor shortage, or the lack of qualified applicants. Rob, help wanted signs are up everywhere, not just in Oshkosh, but all over. I don't care what city you go to across the United States. There seems to be a lack of labor out there for some sectors of the economy. Tell us what's the solution to that?
Well, that's $10,000 question.
Okay.
There's probably not one solution, and you're right. A lot of it we knew was coming. Economists have kind of predicted this, not just in Wisconsin, but across the board, the country, the labor shortage that we're experiencing right now, and the biggest issue is honestly demographics, and kind of the baby boomers where they're almost kind of part of that, right on the tail end of that. But
they're retiring.
Yeah, they're retiring, so they're leaving the workforce, and they're leaving. That's an educated group of folks that are leaving the workforce that is hard to replace. So having UW Oshkosh in our area is vitally important and critical to the growth and development of our local business community. And as we stated earlier, through many of those connections and partnerships with business community in UW-Oshkosh, it's our goal is to keep those students here in Oshkosh and in Northeast Wisconsin, because they are a source of talent and labor that can help backfill and replenish some of these job vacancies that are out there. And that's on the on the manufacturing side. We talk a lot about that, but it's on the office side, service side. I mean, we need to fill positions across the board. So having those connections to UW-Oshkosh and the university here, we're at an advantage versus a community that doesn't have an higher ed educational institution like UW-Oshkosh located in their backyard. So, of course, it creates advantages for us when we're
such as
basically student supply, student initiatives. That's one. I mean, having talent here, at least having access to that talent, and then creating an environment in the community where they want to stay. I mean, that's veering off of that a little bit. We need to be a community in an area where these students want to stay and live. And I can tell you, I mean, we hired our economic development director. Colin Tremmel works for us right now. He's an Illinois guy. He's from the Chicago area, but loves Oshkosh and loves this area. And he's met his fiance here, and they're staying here. He's
found
staying
a home.
Here. Yeah. So I mean, that's just one little example. But I know a lot of out of state. Heck, my son was involved in baseball, and a lot of his friends came up here to play, and they're from Illinois area as well, and they're here. They've graduated and they've stayed in Oshkosh and Northeast Wisconsin for opportunities. So, the university is really, I mean, it's a great opportunity for us to continue to advance our region. But, you asked what else other than just kind of that labor supply question. The university helps in many other ways out in the community, from consulting projects, research and development, providing resources to companies and organizations through faculty and staff. That's also important, engaging UW-Oshkosh's faculty and staff out in the business community. We've hired instructors and faculty and staff on a consulting basis to help us with strategic planning efforts, to help us form kind of another program. UW-Oshkosh is very involved in forming Amplify Oshkosh.
Tell us about that. I know that's a big initiative as we look toward the future and jobs of the future. Tell us what that exactly is.
Absolutely. Amplify Oshkosh was formed back in 2013. Officially, I think we say 2014, but it is really a partnership between business community, and education sector, and economic development people. Workforce development entities are engaged as well, all designed to promote technology careers and that career path in our region. There is an incredible shortage of technology workers back when we did the study. I think there was a shortage back in 2014 of 3,000 tech jobs were unfilled at the time because there just was that lack of talent in the region. So we formed Amplify along with entities, the technology businesses at the time. We had Dealer Fire and Oracular, which is now Smart IS. Dealer Fire has since been sold and bought out by a company from the West Coast, but now that owner of Dealer Fire still is from Oshkosh. Eric Hoopman now formed a company called Lincoln Labs, which is also a tech-based business. And I just mentioned a couple of those examples, but that group got together with our school district, UW-Oshkosh, Fox Valley Tech, ourselves at the chamber, and formed kind of this loosely knit network of businesses and educational entities to promote tech careers. And we're doing that, and also to create connections in the business community from a technology professional perspective. And we've created educational and networking events through Amplify for these tech professionals that live here, so that they can engage with other like-minded tech professionals. And it's all about keeping them here. So we wanted to create these social opportunities for them, networking opportunities, and we've seen technology professionals move on to different organizations and move up in their career, creating a career path for them. So, but also to heighten the awareness of these technology careers to our middle school students, high school students, as well as their parents, because those are the jobs of the future. So we also have events where we'll meet bi-monthly, and Amplify has had over 900 unique individuals that have either attended or been a part of one of our events over the years. So we have this long list of past attendees that are on our mailing or email list that we communicate to. We do these I started down the path, do these bi-monthly events called Ideas Amplified. It's literally a 1.5 to 2 hour session. There's hors d'oeuvres, refreshments for the first hour, and then there's usually about a 20-minute educational session on a topic like AI or ChatGPT, kind of something that's hot at the moment and that people want to learn about or know more about. And then we go back to networking after that, socializing, and then create all these connections. So these have been very popular. We've done, I think, my gosh, over 75 of these since we formed Amplify. And then we do a big event, and we do a big event every year focused on tech and keynote speakers we bring in from all over the country, local panels on technology with education and business over at the Culver Family Welcome Center. We've been doing them there for better part of 10 years. And that's a great connection at campus. It allows the business community and people to attend along with a great connection for the student population here. We're working hard to create that connection with the students. And you've got a number of staff people here at UWO that have been involved from the beginning promoting this connection to UWO. UWO is a sponsor. We have many sponsors. UWO is one of them. So been a great partnership.
Okay, so Rob, tell us about how you keep people here, not just by showing them opportunities that they may have from a job standpoint or a career standpoint, because they got not only do they have to work here, but they're also going to have to some point maybe raise a family here. So what is the role of the chamber in making Oshkosh an attractive community for people?
Right. That is an excellent point. And that gets down to livability of the community and things to do in Oshkosh, what sets us apart, why does somebody want to live here? And I mean, our role is to work with our local partners that are promoting tourism such as Discover Oshkosh and creating housing opportunities that are available. I mean, that's a big issue. We could probably have a whole separate podcast on housing availability and housing supply and cost of housing. So, I mean, that's very important to the livability of the community. But honestly, I mean, you want a community that has recreational opportunities, is a safe community to live in, has a great educational system for families that supports families, has opportunities for shopping, for culture, arts and culture, restaurants, and a unique variety of restaurants. I mean, that's always something that we're working on, is to kind of have an eclectic mix, a mix of those options, whether it's restaurants, shopping, cultural, arts, entertainment activities. Grand Opera House is another example of having, that's important.
Now, does the chamber support initiatives like that, or you are directly involved in trying to make that
both
living palatable and attractive to people who might want to stay here?
Absolutely. It's both. We'll support initiatives from a background perspective, whether it's supporting things that are happening at the Grand or supporting things that Discover Oshkosh is doing. Pyrotechnics Guild's in town this week, all the fireworks displays, and that's generating revenue for the community. That's getting overnight stays at our hotels and restaurants, and those are great things for Oshkosh. So we definitely want to be supportive of that. I think one example we're directly involved in. We kind of do the background work of coordinating Waterfest, which has become one of the most recognizable statewide community concert series this side of the Mississippi River.
Okay.
And it occurs,
Well, it makes sense to be here. It does. I mean, there's a lot of water around here.
There's a lot of water, so it promotes our waterfront and music and entertainment and has become extremely popular for not just people from Oshkosh, but really we're drawing people for that event now, and that's another podcast idea for you. And Mike Dempsey, who's kind of our Waterfest president of Waterfest, talk about the whole concept behind why it was created back in the early 80s. But we've kind of continued that tradition and been very important. So events like Waterfest and the Farmers Market on North Main Street on Saturday mornings, which is just another incredible event that people love. So without those things, it's not as exciting to live here. And that's just a couple of small examples of things that are happening here. But honestly, promoting our waterfront, we have, from whether it's recreational boating or if you're a sportsman who loves to fish and hunt, I mean, this is the place to be. I mean, the Lake Winnebago system, the fishing tournaments that are ongoing here every weekend, the Battle on Bago in the winter, that makes us a destination. And, I was out fishing last night with my son on Lake Winnebago, and you can be out there in 5 or 10 minutes and have access to some of the best fishing in the world right here in Oshkosh. I mean, that's something that's really great. A couple examples, having EAA here and being supportive of that, the world's largest aviation fly-in convention. Every year we become the busiest airport in the world for 10 days. And, that when we go out and sell the community to trade shows, which we've been to I've been to a lot of trade shows in my time here selling Oshkosh from a business perspective. But kind of the first thing that we'll hear is, oh, you have that EAA air show there. I've been to Oshkosh. People know it. So it makes it an easier sell, and having some of these recognizable names like EAA, Oshkosh Corporation, back in the day, Oshkosh Bagash, which is still a recognizable name. UWO Oshkosh is important. I mean, when we get out there in some of our neighboring communities that have a name, ours usually stands out because of some of these signature businesses and organizations that we have located here. So that's been fun. That's been fun over the years to kind of sell that.
And what about the Leadership Oshkosh program? Tell us about what that is and how that is impacting business in our community.
Yeah, it's an amazing program. Started back in the late 80s, early 90s. And Trina Wolt runs that program for us right now, does an excellent job coordinating Leadership Oshkosh. Every particular year, every program year, this year we have 43 to 45 students. We call them students that are part of our Leadership Oshkosh program. It's a 9-month, monthly, 1 day a month course that businesses and organizations can send their employees through this. I call it a crash course on everything Oshkosh. So there's Government Day, there's Business Day, there's Arts and Culture Day, Education Day. There's really 8 different days that is for a full day. You get a crash course in how these things work and operate behind the scenes in Oshkosh. So it's really been great to see this evolve. We have over, I think it's close to 1,200 graduates over the years that is creating leaders in the community. And a lot of these, I call it, kind of mid-level managers or up-and-coming people that go through the Leadership Oshkosh program stay engaged, and they learn how to be engaged in the community. And then they are exposed to other boards that they have adjunct board members when you're in the leadership program that you sit on as a Leadership Oshkosh student. So you can kind of see, we have 2 at the chamber every year that are leadership students. You can kind of see the inner workings of our organization, how it operates, and kind of learn that. And we'll place students where they have an interest and out in the community as an adjunct board member. So that's been an excellent program to develop leaders in the community and find out who those leaders are. And it helps really kind of identify people for us to kind of, because like you said, you got to keep the pipeline filled with future leadership and people. And then they develop these relationships. It becomes a very close relationship. There's a retreat that's held over at the Osthoff Resort in September every year. They'll be over there in a couple weeks doing that, our new students. And they really develop these bonds with the class. I've seen classes. Every class says they're the best class ever. And I'm sure they are, this last class, I mean, every year, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, but every year they conduct a fundraiser. It's called Trivia Night. And this past year, The organization raised a record amount at that trivia night of $32,000, and most of that goes to an entity that they select, a benefactor. This year was the Literacy Council, to help the Literacy Council here in Oshkosh, which was, that's pretty incredible for undertaking a fundraiser like that, and they've been doing that for years now. We've also brought back this year the Youth Leadership Oshkosh program as part of our contract with the school district. We have always coordinated a Youth Leadership Oshkosh program for high school juniors, and this is really kind of targeted. It's really similar to what the Adult Leadership Oshkosh program is, just tailored to high school juniors. And we have 24 high school students that go through this. They're from Northwest Valley and Lourdes Academy, and then they get to become closer knit and kind of doing the same types of things from a youth perspective, learning about Oshkosh. And we've seen a lot of those students we're getting down into the high school level with the youth leadership program to promote Oshkosh as a great place to, maybe they'll go away to school, maybe they won't go to UW Oshkosh, and we get it, but we'd like to have them educated enough where they'll come back and want to raise a family here, and that happens.
That's outstanding. It sounds like a lot of great things are happening here. Thanks so much, though, today, Rob, for coming by and talking to us. It's been good to meet you. Good to hear what's going on at the Chamber and the relationship that the Chamber has with UWO and the community in building a stronger Oshkosh.
Happy to be here, and thanks for having me, Wendell.
Thanks so much for listening to UWO Now. Remember to catch the latest episode of UWO Now. Go to our website, wrst.org, and you can also watch us on the UWO YouTube page. I'm Wendell Ray. Thanks so much for listening.